Hello everyone. This is definitely one of the strangest assemblies I've ever given. It's great to be able to speak to you in these strange and for some of us quite worrying circumstances. However, I first of all hope you're all well. I hope your families are well, and I hope you are all looking after each other wherever you are. I also hope that you're managing to keep yourselves busy and happy, and that you're observing all of the lockdown restrictions and being responsible and helpful to those around you in your community, which is particularly important at this time. This assembly is about role models. Role models are people whose lives we admire and whose examples we try to follow. Role models can inspire us to be better people and do great things, or simply try to do small things in a way which improves our lives and the lives of those around us. Role models may be living or dead, historical figures, international celebrities, movie stars, music stars. They may be celebrities of another kind, someone you see on TV or you've seen at the theatre. They may be members of your family, it might be a brother or a sister, a father or a mother, or your best friend. In normal times, many of us tend to have glamorous or famous role models. They may be people you dream of being like when you become an adult. However, we do need to be careful. Often what we admire in someone's lifestyle is really what they do, what they have, what they possess, rather than their personal qualities, what they are. Perhaps we sometimes need to look closer to home for our role models. And at such an unusual time as this, when we're seeing so little of the people who normally give our lives structure and meaning, such as perhaps our friends or our wider family or the staff at Chobham Academy, who I know many of you have very strong and productive relationships with. It's really important that we have strong role models who can look up to, who we can look up to, who we can refer back to, who we can follow the example of when things are a little bit tough for us. Another important thing about role models is that they can change at different parts and periods of our lives. And in a sense, we can select our role model to fit the times we're going through. Your role models during lockdown may not be the same people you would choose while you're at school or at work or on the sports field or doing your drama practice or your hobbies or your outside interests. This perhaps is a time for a particular kind of role model. And I've been looking closer to home for my role models too over the past few weeks, probably because home is where I currently spend most of my time. In particular, I've been thinking about my parents, people I never really saw as role models until a few weeks ago, and how their example might be able to help me now. My mother's a great example of someone who got things done. She never wasted a minute. Her day was planned out and she would always see things through to a finish, get on with the next task, never leave a moment to waste. She always knew how to keep herself busy. Now, they may not be the most glamorous or exciting qualities, and in normal times maybe the things I wouldn't look so much to as admirable, but at the moment her behaviour is a really good example to me of keeping going, getting things done and being as productive as I can be. My father was very different. He was very patient. He enjoyed spending time on his own, and he enjoyed getting into complicated tasks which would take him ages to complete. He was also really good at cutting out interruptions and becoming absorbed in things, and he used his time really well. He played music, he learned to play music, he learned a foreign language, he made the best use of his time. He is someone who would really have enjoyed the lockdown because he would have got an enormous amount out of it, and at the end of it he would have known a lot more than he did at the start and would have enjoyed much of the time. And that's an example which, albeit difficult, sometimes I'm kind of trying to follow at the moment. My third role model, or the third I'd like to share with you this afternoon, is Mr. Douglas. Mr. Douglas taught me how important history is. while he taught me history in secondary school. He also helped to make me curious about the past and want to find out more and to learn about and understand and question the effects of the past and how they're felt in the present. Now those gifts, because they are gifts, have always been really important to me, but especially now when I've got plenty of time to read and reflect, and the ability to actually absorb yourself in something you love to do, be it reading, be it writing, be it a hobby which involves you making something with your hands, is a real gift. And if you have such a hobby, have such an interest at a time like this, it can be a real benefit. So hopefully when I see you all again before too long, I'll be a little bit better informed, a little bit more reflective, a little bit better read as a result of this period. Now, of course, we should not necessarily take everything from our role models. We're all unique and we're all individuals, and modeling ourselves too closely on anybody else is probably not a healthy thing to do. Also, of course, no role model, however great they may appear, can ever be wholly admirable, much as we might find this occasionally difficult to admit. All human beings, even the most admirable and greatest of us, have faults, and we should be aware of these. We should be aware of them so we don't idolize people. We should be aware of them so we don't follow their mistakes ourselves and repeat them. Role models and hero worship are not the same thing. I would argue that the first, role models, is a really helpful thing to have. The second, hero worship, possibly less so. So I want you to think about who your role models are. I want you to actively choose them. Choose people who are of benefit to you at this time. And what would you and your role model talk about if you were here together in lockdown? How would your role model respond to this? How would they help you through this period to make it as safe for you, as productive for you as it can possibly be, and to make you the kind of person who does the right thing? And at this time, the best thing we can do is just to be good members of our community, in our home, in our local community. How would your role model help you to meet those aims, to meet those aspirations? So now what I'd like to do in closing our assembly is to reflect, and I'm going to put a few questions up for you just to think about for a minute or two and ask yourself where you sit in response to these questions and how they make you think about yourself, about your role models, and about how you're going to handle the next few weeks. I hope we meet again before too long in person. I'm very much looking forward to being back and seeing you all at school. And in the meantime, take care, look after yourselves, and have a think about your role models. Goodbye, everybody.